It's game time!
Yo kids, sit on my lap and listen to Uncle DC's story. In 2012, the world was graced by many wonders. We got the finale to the Dark Knight trilogy. We got Mass Effect 3, Mortal Kombat Arcade Edition, and the world almost ended. But one release was a total show stealer. So big, that everyone forgot it happened. This game made Buddhism cool for the weebs. It made the graphical style of Street Fighter Cross Tekken cool. It created a cool cyborg space cowboy ninja that rides a bike like fucking Lobo. It gave a new meaning to the words too angry to die, and this thing destroyed this man's vocal cords. This game was so cool, that its ending was released as paid DLC. And it gave us a playable anime to the style of Dragon Ball Z. Well, I don't like anime. Oh, for fuck's sake. Asura's Wrath is a beat-em-up released by Capcom in 2012, with the most shallow but addictive gameplay I've experienced in a beat-em-up. The game is a Buddhist version of Metal Gear Rising, but on crack. It's way more over the top in presentation. It's a 360 and PS3 game, but can be played via backwards compatibility on the Xbox One and Series X. IDK of it's available on PSN. Guess I gotta ask that to today's guest. Introduce yourself, boy.
What's up, my people? It's your boy Mr. Retro Reviews here, and I am glad to be on this video, or featured in this video. The homie here, DC fan, and so it looks like today I'm gonna have to be talking about Asura's Wrath, one of the best games I've played in a long time. It's like, I can tell that it was made by the same team who helped out on Ninja Storm 4, because I am a fan of Naruto as well as the, you know, the Ninja Storm series. So to be playing a game with those similar mechanics, the similar feel, and, you know, just the nostalgia in general of like how the game feels, you know, how it works, and, you know, the gameplay mechanics. It's a fun ride. I've enjoyed the game. I didn't do the true ending thing because I didn't buy DLC, but I'm pretty sure on PS Now you do get the DLC content for free to do the true ending. I don't know if I did the true ending or not. It's been a while since I played it, but I do remember the game quite a good amount to, you know, at least review it. But yeah, for the most part, I've enjoyed playing the game. It's a nice feel. The mechanics are kind of basic, but at the same time, it works. It works for that kind of game. And so, you know, if you ever, you know, just want a game to pass time, or you want to play a game with a good story and good, you know, fighting mechanics, then Asura's Wrath is totally one of the games that you should think about playing at one point in time when you're free to do so.
Anywho, for being a 2012 game, it looks amazing. This game's art style reminds me a lot of the style from Street Fighter Cross Tekken, with the rougher texture designs, but with more realistic lighting. Also, the character designs are fucking cool. I was never a fan of the normal Asura look, with the pupils, but when he gets his main design, he just looks badass. I also love the designs to most of the 7 deities. Yasha is fucking cool. His design is so melancholic, and full of monotone colors, but looks so damn cool. Get it? Melancholy? Yasha? I'll move on. His theme is one of the best mixes I've ever heard, and he's voiced by Robin Atkin Downes. So that's a plus. People seem to like August. I can't say I see it. He just looks annoying. I don't see what people see in him. Olga, on the other hand, she's a fucking bitch and deserves to die for bossing around my boy Yasha. But not gonna lie, she does look kinda hot.
When it comes to the side characters, or the main villains that you can somewhat say, I'm not a fan of any of them really. I'm 50-50 on most of them. They're pretty okay. They're written out well. They are good enough challenges for the boy Asura, but at the same time, it's like I just don't really like the villain characters at all. But I mean, if I don't like them, then that just means that they were written correctly, right? So yeah, that opinion goes for each one of these characters, except this man Deuce. He kind of reminds me of that one guy from Kill la Kill, and this other dude from Akame ga Kill. and he kind of looks like both of those characters combined, and he even has lightning powers, or you know, the ability to control lightning and move at lightning speed. Basically a thunder god. That's basically what he is. So I mean, he's probably the main villain. I liked it. The character that I possibly hate the most out of that game is probably Yasha, just because, bro, you knew that this man Sergey was going to this man's home to basically kill your sister and kidnap your niece, but yet you still allowed it to happen, and so you basically sacrificed your sister's life for others, and on top of that you allowed them to kidnap and torture your niece. If that's what you did, or you know, if that's what you thought was the best option or course of action, then yeah, Yasha, I hate Yasha. That's bottom line. I hate Yasha. Probably one of the most least liked characters of mine from the game. You know, and then when it came to that point in the mission or in the game where you had to play as him, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to play as him. I don't. They're having me play as the enemy now, bro. And the only time he saw like this villainy, the only time he saw it as like being enough, like when it was enough, was when they started just taking from everybody instead of doing more good than they did harm. Like, they did more harm and they caused more destruction. They were blowing up cities, etc., etc., villages. And so that's when he finally decides to put his foot down. But I'm like, bro, when they killed your sister and kidnapped and tortured your niece, that's where you should have put your foot down then. But you know, I guess it's a nice redemption arc for the character in the game, but even then I'm still not a fan of. And I don't think he should have been able to stand up against almost, well, technically a QB mode Asura, who was basically fully enraged. I don't think he should have been able to stand up to that. Possibly, or more than likely, should have died himself.
The gameplay of Asura's Wrath is so fucking basic and shallow, it should be boring as fuck. But it isn't. It's so goddamn satisfying. You got a bumper button to roll, and you use the face buttons to jump, attack, use a heavy attack, or shoot projectiles. Usually the way you play is A. on the ground with a few constantly spawning enemies or a boss, or B. on rails where your character infinitely runs or flies and you have to shoot projectiles to objects in your way. In scenario A, bosses and enemies have no health bar. Only you do. What you do in that case is you fight to fill a gauge at the top of the screen. That is known as the burst gauge. Once filled, you hit an on-screen button prompt to trigger a cutscene full of quick time events to end the fight. That's usually what you do, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But weirdly enough, it never gets boring. Speaking of quick time events, 60% of the game is fucking quick time events. This game is very heavy on cutscenes, being presented as a show, with advertisements, breaks, and to be continued screens, and next time on Asura's Wrath kind of stuff. All of these cutscenes are filled to the brim with quick time events, button prompts, and so many fucking buttons that you have to press, or mash to death. I'm okay with quick time events. They are a nice addition usually in my opinion, and they actually work really well in Asura's Wrath. But I fucking hate button mashing prompts. Most games suffer due to them. Stuff like No More Heroes and Killer is Dead especially suffer from Hit Me Daddy syndrome. Oh, your time is fucking coming. Asura's Wrath is pretty clear when it comes to Hit Me Daddy syndrome. There is only one problem I have with it. There is one stupid QTE at the finale of one of the DLC missions. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. In the game you play as two characters. The main character Asura, a demigod, who is pissed as fuck because they made Mithra cry. He's pretty basic. Punch punch. Insert anima power scream. The other character in the other hand, Asura's brother-in-law, Yasha. He's my preferred choice. He is Asura, but faster, with slices replacing the projectiles, and a badass theme to boot. I think I mentioned that earlier. Well, now going to the story.
when it comes to the story, I enjoyed the story for the most part. Basically, the story of Asura's Wrath is basically you have the deities who are supposed to be protectors of the sky world, and the reason why they have this sky world is basically because creatures, or kaiju in this instance, took over half of the earth, or so they moved to a different utopia, which was like a sky utopian society. So they moved up to the sky, and so that's always been their thing, was to finally defeat this creature after so many years, which you do at the end of the game. You and Yasha defeat the creature at the end of the game, or like the queen of the kaijus at that point. Yeah, you literally defeat her at the end. But even then, the kaiju wasn't how it looked out from the outside. In the inside, it was a completely different being that was more powerful than what it was from the outside. And yeah, you basically have this character Asura who has so much built up rage, and as time goes on, the main question of the game, or the main question of the main character, is why are you always so angry? What drives you to be this angry? Like, why are you so full of rage? What causes you to solve problems with your fist more than your words? So we get like a deep understanding of the main character, and we get to see him being fleshed out into a character that I'm pretty sure most people love and enjoyed from the game, which is, in my opinion, the best thing ever, because after that, Asura is totally one of my favorite video game characters ever. Hopefully one day NECA Toys can make an action figure of him, or McFarlane Toys can make an action figure of him. Anybody who can make an action figure of him, any company, I would totally appreciate it. Just make sure it's highly detailed and has decent amounts of articulation, and then you have my wallet pretty much. I never played the DLC. Like I said, I never played the DLC of the real ending, nor have I played the Street Fighter DLC. Not really a Street Fighter fan. Not a fan of crossovers that don't make, a lot of sense. So I tend to stay away from stuff like that. Yeah, not a big fan of, Street Fighter. And
Asura's Wrath gained a lot of DLC content, all of them being extra missions. The 0.5 missions are extra missions to add bulk to the story, and have no actual gameplay. They are just out of engine anime cutscenes with button mashing. They are decent. Part of the DLC is also the real ending to the game. I haven't played it, but by far my favorite is the pair of Lost Episode DLCs. Asura fights Akuma and Yu from Street Fighter. How cool is that? Round 1 is done in the style of SF4, 2D gameplay and Ultras. Then round 2 is basically a regular Asura's Wrath boss fight, but with the addition of evil Yu nut cracking. Nice. After all this time, Asura's Wrath has stayed a forgotten gem of Capcom's back catalog, but still has its fans. The latest thing Capcom has done for the game is add Asura costume DLC for Kago in SFV. And that too ended up being shit. At the end of it all, Asura's Wrath is one badass game to play, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone. I give it a 10 out of 10. I don't remember, but this just may be our first. If you for some reason like this video, consider subscribing and leaving a like. Don't forget to check out my co-host for today, Retro Reviews on Instagram. Link in the description for that. Thanks for helping, dude. If you want to see my stupid artwork, check out my Deviantart. Check out my Instagram and join my Discord server. Link in the description for all. I am the DC Fan XO, and don't forget that.